You've reached the CEO hotline. This is Krystal Jugarap, business mentor, visibility strategist, community builder, and your new favorite person to have on speed dial. Because you and I both know you are done playing small. This line is for wildly ambitious women founders who are ready to stop winging it and start running their business like a true CEO. We're talking raw, unfiltered strategy, real case studies, and some seriously ceiling-shattering powerhouse CEOs dropping in on the line. So stay on, because this call, it's about to change your business. Don't hang up.
Welcome back to another episode of the CEO Hotline. This is one of my favorite formats on this episode where we do a live strategy session with a fabulous guest that we're bringing onto the podcast, and we're talking about what they are actively navigating in real time. So excited to dive in today with Richelle Ledesma. She is the founder of Resilient Strength and Wellness. She is an embodied performance practitioner who helps people get stronger mentally and physically through mindset, strength training, and body work. We have had a couple of conversations up until this point, and I know she's launching some really incredible offers or getting ready to do so. So that's primarily what we're going to be chatting about today, but we'll see where the conversation unfolds. Richelle, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and I'm nervous for more visibility, but I'm open.
I love visibility. I'm going to make sure that you love visibility. It's going to be a great conversation. Don't be nervous. We're going to have some fun. So, talk to me about where you're currently at. What are you thinking about? Share also with our audience, like, what are the offers that you are hoping to birth, and what are you feeling around those offers in this moment today?
Yeah, so I have a pretty full plate with my business.
Mhm.
I've been doing strength training in person online, as well as competition prep for powerlifting specifically. And then I also do body work. So it's a very full plate for me. But what I'm hoping to birth moving forward, it's actually a whole new modality. Um, the bodywork and the strength training touches on a lot of the like external side of health. But the workshop that I want to birth is a journaling workshop, and that's going to touch on more of the internal processing.
It sounds like you are pretty up to your ears in client work. You're pretty busy as is. How do you feel like this workshop is ultimately going to play into, like, I know this is what you're navigating, but I'm curious what your insights are before I pour in. Like, how do you see it fitting into the bigger picture of the full scope of what you offer?
Hmm. I think it really just ties in more of a full circle on the holistic health side of things. Like I mentioned, the current services work a lot on the external, and this one's going to work on the internal.
Mhm.
And also working on the book, been working on this for like the past 2 years. The journaling workshop would be a really great way for me to continue practicing all my self-reflection, my prompts, and all of that, especially with other people. And I think it would be a great way to introduce to others that, hey, like this is what I'm passionate about, and this is what I'm creating later on.
Okay, I like this for a couple of different reasons. I know we've kind of chatted about how I do see the through line of adding this in as a part of your offerings. What I see is the issue a lot with other women founders who are very multi-passionate, who want to be able to do a lot of different things, is that we view it as like different, like completely different entities, right? Different components. But the through line here is that you are still supporting their health in some capacity, whether that's their physical health or their mental health, and you're able to give them that opportunity of choice of where do they need to be best served. And we've already talked about previously of you can definitely see how some of your clients that are in the personal training or strength training or the body work, like you're kind of having to subconsciously or like unintentionally support them in these moments anyway, where like the reasons why they're showing up for the services that you currently offer, like it stems from more than just like their physical health. Like there are different things that are happening in their lives. So I love seeing this as an extension of that.
Okay, I know the episode is just starting to get juicy, but before we keep going, I want to tell you about A Woman's World. It's Harolo's annual summit, one full day, high impact, bringing together founders, coaches, creatives, and women who are actively building something meaningful. Every year the event grows, and every year the energy in that room is something I cannot even fully put into words. You have to be there. We're talking curated speakers, hands-on workshops, and the kind of room where you leave with real clarity, real connections, and real momentum. This year's theme is Level Up. Level up your personal brands, your leadership, and your marketing and sales, and everything we have planned for this year is built around that. If you've been waiting for a sign to get in the room, this is it. Grab your seat through the link in the description, and if you want the best deal in the room, join as a Harolo member first, because members get up to 40% off on top of the original early bird pricing, so you're stacking your savings from day one. Links for both are in the description. Okay, back to the episode.
Have you kind of planted the seed with your current clients of would you actually be interested in something like this, or are there any journaling practices that you do at home? Have you done any of that kind of market research with them?
Yeah, actually. So with my current clients for especially for strength training, because we work so closely with each other, like
Mhm.
um especially on the mindset side,
Mhm.
once in a while I'll ask them like to reflect. Like if they're really going through something like a huge external stressor outside of training, it can affect their training. And so
Mhm.
that can look like if someone's going through a lot of stress like internally, that can look like uh, affected performance, poor sleep. It it goes through a whole list of things that affect someone's performance. And so it isn't until we have a conversation, self-reflective conversation, that um, we find out some things, and then they
Mhm.
start lifting better. Look at that. And I thought, if we didn't have this talk to really self-reflect on what was going on for them, how would they have continued? Would they still have suffered in their performance? Would they, you
Mhm.
know?
So have you given them any additional homework, if you will, like after having those kinds of conversations and recognizing what the root cause is that is affecting their performance? Do you encourage them to do any kind of like practices at home?
Yeah. Um, Usually I'll just come up with a prompt based on whatever they're going through. Like,
Mhm.
for example, I had a client who was going through a lot of, like, how should I say? They had a death in their family,
Mhm.
and it seemed like they were having a hard time processing that. Because again, I can see it in their performance, their mood. And
Yeah.
a prompt that I gave this person was to, I just gave them the easiest prompt for someone who's like overloaded, right? Is
Mhm.
a mind dump, 2 minutes straight, write without the pen coming off the paper.
Are you doing that in real time with them, or you're telling them to do that when they get home and on their own time?
This one, because I didn't have time, I was about to go to Chicago. Um, I gave that to him as homework on his own time.
Okay, so this is essentially kind of what you're already doing
Yeah.
with your clients, but now you're creating more structure around it. And we have, for those listening, me and Rochelle, we've already had the conversation of what that structure actually looks like, of what she wants her workshop to be. But now that I'm hearing that this, like, it's been more than just a conversation, it's been more than just like questions that you've asked your clients of, like, what do you think is currently affecting you right now or like weighing down on you? It seems like you are naturally also serving them in this higher capacity of, listen, before we get to that part, let's focus on this part because it's clearly like affecting the energy that you're bringing into the space today. So it seems like also a natural extension of the work that you're doing, where it's not, you're not going to be bringing in new clients for this workshop. You definitely can. It could definitely be a lead gen and help you expand who you're serving. but it's also just like an expansion of the current offers that you have. So you have 5 clients as it is right now, right? Like that's your capacity because it's so like involved in terms of like preparation, right? What percentage of those 5 clients do you think you're doing this kind of work with them like already? Is it all of them?
It is all of them.
Have you kind of positioned yourself in that way out of curiosity of like you support them with that kind of breaking down the mindset and like what might be holding them back?
uh, no, I've never, like, marketing wise, like when I talk
Yeah.
to clients
Yeah.
or have them on a, no.
I want to take a pause and ask you a really quick question. Are you still building your business in isolation? Listen, you do not have to do that anymore, okay? I built Horolo, our women's entrepreneurial community, because I knew I didn't want to go into business alone, and I'm tired of seeing other women entrepreneurs still building their business alone. This is a community based on real connection, real resource sharing, and a network of women who actually want to see you win. We're not just here for the superficial follows online and the surface level conversations. We have virtual workshops, mastermind calls, a members only platform, and we also host in person events here in the Bay Area, and we're continuing to expand across the US every month. If you're ready to stop building solo and start surrounding yourself with people who get it, then join us at herolo.com/apply. That's HERROLO.com/apply. That link is also going to be in the show notes. Okay, let's get back into it.
How do you typically position yourself when it comes to your marketing? Like how are you creating your content? How are you speaking about your offers? How are you bringing in new clients?
Hmm. I usually tell people that I help on structure, so I'll give them a program, custom program. I go into their habits and lifestyle, and I guess I don't talk about it until it
Habits
comes up.
habits and lifestyle meaning what?
Habits and lifestyle. So like, what, like, how do they get ready for a training session? Things like that. What is their nighttime and morning routine?
Hi.
Because when it comes to habits, I think that it takes time to intentionally change habits, and it takes repetition and accountability.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah.
can work on a habit for like a month. Some people for like
Yeah.
a month, or maybe for a week.
But they don't generally come into that. Like they know that you help them work on their lifestyle or improve maybe bad habits that they're having. Maybe they're like going out and binging or drinking or whatever, or like they're sleeping very late and waking up really early, whatever it is. But they don't come in recognizing that you're going to be doing like the deeper work, right? Of like, where did those habits even stem from?
No.
Has there been any kind of reaction to that kind of work, like positive or negative, while you're doing it with them? Like, is there friction that you're seeing?
It's always positive.
Amazing. Okay, that's what I was hoping to hear.
I'm like getting hot.
Have you thought about these questions beforehand?
No.
Okay, so I'm really excited about the direction that we're going in now because this is why you do the work that you've done. You do now. And you've told me this that you were dealing with your own mental health and you were looking for some kind of way to take care of yourself and express it in a healthy way of whatever it is that you were navigating in your life previously. And I think that you're kind of naturally calling in these clients that are so open to having those conversations, which actually was surprising to me. I thought there would be a little bit of vulnerability there or hesitation to get that deep. But it's clear that your energy, the way that you're putting yourself out there, you're attracting the clients that are open to that. So I think you can be even more intentional with that of being more like outspoken about what your journey has been like, why you do the work you do today, and then now why that is the reason why you serve your clients in the way that you do. Because it's not, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably not the traditional way that a whole bunch of other strength trainers do it. There's probably not a lot of strength trainers that go out there and say, tell me about your parents' divorce, right? Tell me about why you think you're having that habit that you do. And I'm not saying that you ask these questions in this kind of tone, but
Well,
go
actually, can
ahead.
I share a story?
Absolutely.
So I've been in back-to-back competitions earlier this month or last month, and I'm so tired at this point. But anyways,
Yeah.
so that client that I mentioned who they had a death in their family, I always keep those things in mind. It's almost like I'm
Okay.
counting like I'm keeping track of my clients' mental states and their nervous system states because it matters in
Okay.
competition. If he's not ready here, it's going to show on the platform. And it absolutely showed on the platform. Like he missed a lift that he should have gotten. He was struggling a little bit more than he typically would because I see his numbers on a week to week. I see his lifts on a week to week. I know when he's off. And so at the end of the competition, the very first thing that I mentioned to him, so me, him, his handler, and his ex-coach, who just so happened to be there, we were recapping together as a group.
Okay.
And the very first thing I mentioned to him was, I know the invisible weight that you're carrying ever since your grandpa's funeral. It was 3 days before his competition.
Uh-huh.
I know that invisible weight you're carrying is heavier than this actual competition. Like, I don't know what I said. It was along those lines. And then I went into like the recap on the more practical side. But like I wanted to acknowledge that first because I know what it's like in my body to go through such heavy grief and still have
Yeah.
to perform.
And you haven't talked about that publicly.
No. Kind of. I was making I was making a lot of content on grief as a release for myself last year.
Mhm.
Yeah. But
Within like your
I
brand's social media or wherever.
yeah,
Okay.
I was posting just as an outlet, but I never really tied it to my work.
So this is where it gets interesting. And I was just chatting about some of the girls that are in my summer proof challenge about this. Like, this is your differentiating factor, whether you know it or not. Like all of those things that have brought you to this moment, like it's not like the meets that you won, like how much you can lift or whatever the terms are. I was going to say like bench press, but it's probably not what you do, right?
That is,
It is what you do? Oh my God,
yeah.
that's wild. How much you can press, whatever. Like it's also your lived experience up until this moment because all of those experiences have shaped the way that you approach the work you do today, have given you a reason to ask the questions that you do of your clients today. And that's why you're able to deliver a service at the level that you do, where it's more than just being practical. It's more like holistic. It's more like internal. And we can have someone that's a strength trainer that focuses on like the external things all day long, like how many like grams protein are you getting every day? How many bottles of water? Whatever. Don't make fun of me for not knowing your lingo.
No,
I
you're
work
right.
out with y'all,
You're
but
right.
I don't know exactly what they talk about. But it's also like, but how are you navigating the grief that I know that you are dealing with and that maybe you're suppressing inside? Because we need to recognize how those things that we're navigating internally are showing externally in the way that we're showing up to practice, in the way that we, perform at the meet. That's what makes you different. And there are probably going to be people that are not comfortable having those conversations, but there are also probably so many people that are your ideal clients that know they need to have those conversations, or maybe also came into doing lifting or came into body work because they know that they've been navigating that and they didn't realize, maybe also they didn't realize like that's why they've been drawn to that, but that's an added layer to it. So I love that we're kind of having this revelation now because now thinking about how does the workshop fit in? It's not like a pivot or anything. And I don't know if you were feeling like you might have to create a new Instagram or create a new brand or pivot or whatever, or like announce anything crazy. It literally is an extension of the work that you're already doing. And if you start intentionally kind of layering in that transparency in your journey, in why you support your clients the way that you do, it just makes this natural bridge of, now I offer these workshops as a one-off because I've seen the transformation that it's offered to the clients that I currently have. And I know that not everyone here that's in my audience, maybe you're not trying to press 300 pounds. Maybe you're not comfortable with body work, but you can still do this internal work. How are you feeling? I feel like you were going to say something.
When you said like if I had to make a separate account or like this was going to be a big pivot, part
Mhm.
of that I was thinking of stepping away from coaching for a couple months.
We didn't talk about that. I don't think you've I
No,
don't think you've told
I
me that.
haven't told many people.
Okay, and now you're telling the world. First of all, love that for you.
I
Well,
yeah, go ahead, ask.
what's the thought process behind that?
I was just feeling a lot of pressure um in the realm of powerlifting.
Mhm.
And I think you named it earlier of like the way that I go about coaching. Like I feel very hmm and I don't know if this is true, but I feel like I get criticized for my style.
By who?
Maybe other athletes, other coaches.
Okay, but you're not serving
But
them as your clients.
right,
And your clients aren't saying anything, like, they're not leaving you for it. They're praising
right,
you for it.
right.
Okay, so
But that
noise.
pressure was yeah, that pressure was
Mhm.
yeah.
So here's what I like to say about those moments. Whenever you get these moments where someone tells you, you can't do it that way, it's never going to work, or like, I don't agree with the way that you're doing things, that is your opportunity to double down and to recommit to yourself of, I know at the end of the day, there's a reason why I do the work that I do, and there's a reason why I do it the way that I do it. And so this is your chance to reflect and maybe pivot if you feel like, okay, maybe you're right. Like maybe that was unaligned, or to go in the opposite direction of, maybe I need to get louder about this. Maybe I do need to finally share my story so that I'm not the only one that understands why I do things the way that I do. But I get to
Mm,
share others, or I get to bring other people on that journey to understand why maybe actually the way they've been doing it all along, that was not the way to go. And even though maybe I'm going against the grain, there's a reason for it, there's intention behind it. I've seen the transformation that it's brought for myself, and I see the transformation that it brings to my clients. And the ones that are making that noise, that are saying like, that's not how you should do things, that's not how you should do things, they're not my clients. The ones that I'm serving, they're giving the positive feedback, right? They're seeing how that kind of internal work does improve their performance, does allow them to show up at a higher capacity, at a higher level, more confident, more grounded, whatever it is. Right. And you get to start layering that into your messaging, and also using that as like, it's okay for people to not agree with you. It's okay for people to not want to work with you. That is the world like filtering out your not ideal clients, the people that are not meant to be in your world. And that's okay. We need that. We need that filter. That protects our boundaries without us having to do anything. The louder we get to be about who we are and what we're here to do, the less work we have to do in terms of, I don't like getting the clients that we don't want to have because they don't believe in the work that we do, right? Having the conversations where we have to try to convince anyone. We don't have to convince anyone. So I, aside from you wanting to step away because of that, was there any other reason why you're considering kind of like taken a couple of months back from the strength training, from the coaching?
It was mainly that, which evolved into not feeling good enough. It's I'm rolling my eyes because it's something I've been working on for
Mhm,
a long time.
mhm. I would encourage you to take a look at the evidence. It's easy for us to create these false narratives that we're not good enough, that we're not far along enough, that we haven't done enough, whatever the case may be. But you've been doing this kind of work for 10 years. You've had a business for 6 years. That is a milestone in and of itself. A lot of people, I don't remember what the statistic is off the top of my head, but some people, a lot of people, majority of people don't hit that 5 year mark. And you're
Mm.
continuing to still bring in clients. You're so tired and exhausted because you've been booked, because people are coming to you. Like, that is your proof. That is your evidence that you are not just good enough, but like people are coming to you and for good reason. So, with that said, I feel like we're going to have a conversation again in the future. But I know that one of the things that that you wanted to come on and talk about on this podcast was like the capacity of it, of you're already so booked as it is. And, we previously also talked about like having that cadence where, maybe like summer season is a very meat heavy season. And so having that in mind of knowing what that pattern looks like of I'm very ingrained in prepping my clients to get ready for their meets um, during the summer seasons. I'm not doing a lot of body work. I'm not trying to squeeze people in for my body work because I know I have a capacity that I need to take care of for myself as well. So I'm not getting burnt out. Like having that kind of routine is going to be crucial, especially if you're trying to layer in these different offerings. But what does I have two questions that I want to kind of go down the rabbit hole with. So let's start with the first one of what would your business, your life, your schedule look like if you were to say, I'm stepping back from coaching for a season?
What would it look like?
Hmm.
Mm, I would pour. It's not that I would pour more into everything else I've been doing, but I'll just have better brain capacity. I won't feel like my brain is so split because I feel
Mm.
like I'm constantly juggling my brain.
I love how you answered this in a way that I didn't anticipate you answering it. I was thinking that you were going to answer like more logistically of I would basically just take on more bodywork clients, but you answered in a way of like I would have like more brain capacity and like feel better. I think that's even just a good revelation to have now because even though you have set your capacity, you're giggling. I'm going to get to that in a second. Whatever it is that you're giggling about, you have currently set your capacity to 5, so maybe realistically, it's not actually 5. And I know we talked about this last time we tried to record this and we were having some internet issues of, like, 5 you could do, but maybe, like, just because you could, like, maybe 5 is pushing it and 4 is realistically your ideal number, and we get to define those numbers for ourselves, right? Of based on our capacity, based on what we know about ourselves, based on how we know, like, booked and busy is a phrase that gets thrown around all the time, but if that is affecting the way that you're able to operate and show up and deliver your clients and also just, like, feel good about your life and your business, then booked and busy is not a good thing. You wanna be booked at the capacity that you wanna be booked, not just, like, booked till, like, you're blue in the face. So maybe it's about lowering that capacity and recognizing, "Okay, maybe I need a better balance of my strength training clients and then my bodywork clients. And then even now, layering in the journaling workshop is going to be such a great option for me to offer because it's still tied into the way that I serve my clients, but it doesn't take so much lift. Like you're not constantly going to be restructuring this workshop. It's going to be the same kind of workshop, just the conversation will change a little bit. That's, oh my gosh, like such a weight off. it's such a low lift on your end, but you still get to serve your clients and bring in revenue. So that's also something that I encourage people to consider when it comes to how are you building your offer suite. It's not just about the money, it's also about how is it affecting you physically? How is it affecting you mentally? Right? One of my other clients is very like, she also has something that she does that's very like physically demanding of her, and something that's a lot less physically demanding because it's just kind of like paperwork. And she was finding herself so booked with all these physically demanding clients. And I said, but can you see yourself doing that for the next couple of years? Like sustainably? And she was having like a hesitation of letting some of those clients of like shifting what her schedule is or what her availability is. But when we start looking at it long term of what is actually sustainable, how do we actually want to see ourselves, our lives? Then we start bringing a different kind of intention into the way that we are deciding our availability, into which kind of offers we're bringing to the table, because it's not just about taking care of our clients, it's about taking care of ourselves too, right? So I think even with that, like, it's kind of, I don't want to say a no brainer, but a no brainer to start tightening up what the capacity is on that offer and giving yourself space to do this workshop, to do your body work. And even the body work is already like physically demanding of you, right? And so the workshop seems like even if you feel like you don't have the capacity for it now, you can make the choice to create the capacity for it. And one of the things that I wanted to get back to, the other question was, what does your current routine look like now? Because you're already actively writing a book. So, how much time are you allocating for that? Do you have like a routine for that?
No, I haven't been able to pour into the book recently,
Okay.
um, because of where all my energy is going to. So, like, if I look at my routine, so the bodywork side, I have a structure, like, it's always the same schedule week to week, but it depends on who books. Sometimes there's no
Okay.
bookings, sometimes I'm fully booked. The workshop would be similar. It's going to be like a once or twice a month thing. So those things are set in structure. When it comes to the coaching side, my structure is so off because when I am most productive is usually around midnight.
I used to be like
So
that.
it's just when everything gets quiet and I don't know. It's always when inspiration strikes. I don't know why.
Mhm.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
between like 10 p.m. until 2 a.m., I could be working, like workflow mode when it comes to the coaching side. That's what my schedule looks like.
Do you feel like you've created any predictability in the revenue, in the bookings over the past few years? Like, do you have a system that supports more predictability?
For booking like bodywork stuff?
Like for
Bodywork
both,
side?
for strength training, for body work, like renewing your clients or getting your clients in the body work to do like more packages as opposed to waiting kind of last minutes for like to get those clients in of like, okay, now it's summer season. Who am I going to be working with this month? Like, how far in advance are you able to start booking people in? Do you have a wait list? Do you have a process for that to get them renewed, to set up your year so you are not in those seasons where it's like, there's no bookings. What am I going to do this week?
That's literally the season I'm in right now this month. Um,
Okay.
so no, not so much. I only have a handful of clients who are consistently renewing packages.
Okay.
And then on the coaching side, it's been month to month, like whenever they want to stop, pretty much. Because a lot of my coaching clients have stayed with me long term, like beyond a year.
Okay. But you're still going month to month with them.
After the first 4 months of working together, we were month to month. After the first 4 months of working together, we go month to month.
Why is that?
Uh, I don't know.
How long does it take to prepare for a meet?
People will sign up with me for a 4-month prep usually.
Okay. And then do they typically join another meet the next 4 months? Or like what? How
Not
many meet?
always.
Okay. So after the meet happens, what is like a regular routine for a strength trainer?
Um, so one client has back-to-back meets, so he's actually going back into meet prep after. And then another client likes to take a long off season because they only like to compete once a year. So we just work on off season things like getting stronger, um, like targeting weaknesses basically is what off season looks like.
Okay. For the person that's back to back meets, so are they constantly buying the 4-month package whenever they prep for the next meet? Or are the meets like pretty close together?
Um, no, it's just month to month, but with the commitment
Okay. What is their commitment?
that they'll continue for the 4 months.
Okay.
But
Got it.
it's not a separate package. Is that what you're asking? Like the package?
Yes and no. So I'm curious, like, I understand the 4-month prep. If you have a meet coming up, you need to come in like 4 months prior so we have enough time to prep you, etc. And then you have these like one-off things. If you have people that have been coming to you for years, you 100% have more leverage in terms of, listen, I suggest like just doing the 6 months or committing to the full year or whatever it is, like creating a little bit more predictability that you know they're going to stick around with you. You've already done it with the 4 months, but I feel like you can continue to replicate that with the I forgot what you said it's called. The off-season training or whatever. Like I feel like you can create longer packages for that as opposed to just waiting to see, are they going to renew next month? Are they going to renew next month? You can still have that as like an offering, but because people tend to stick around with you, it seems like a no-brainer to be able to say, listen, why don't we just lock it in? You routinely lock in an additional 4 months after your meet, so this is like the newest offering that I have where you can just lock it in at this price point. And you can either go one of two ways of giving them a discount to lock in early, a set number of months, whatever you want that to look like. Or you can even use that to increase your current monthly rates and say, if you just want the single month, it's at a higher price point. If you want to maintain your current rates right now, I'm doing that at 3-month minimum commitments.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think why I went the route I did is because I was looking at how other coaches were
Mhm,
doing theirs.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, and that's great market research, but at the same time, like looking at the data of that you have, people are already staying with you long term. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're doing something that doesn't make sense for the business that you've already built. Okay, so getting back to the structure of things or like, the more the capacity of things, because I know we only have a few more minutes. Um, I 100% see this workshop being such an asset to what it is that you're building. I can see you layering it in as part of your just like annual cadence. So you have a season where it's meat heavy. All of your time and attention is focused on that. And you've booked people in advance. You've had those conversations in advance of, hey, are you doing the meet next year or in the next 6 months? Let's lock it in now. So you're creating a little bit more predictability. I do 100% think that you could potentially increase your package to include more of this internal work and have that be a part of your messaging, like have that be very explicit on your website or in your content of like, this is part of how I can prepare you for your meet. It could be like an add-on, whatever. It doesn't have to be like you're already naturally doing that for every single one of your clients. So I do see that as being part of your core offering. Like if you decide to come train with me, this is a part of the process that we go through because I know that everyone, I don't care who you are, I don't care how you grew up, everyone is dealing with something and we need to work through that first to be able to get the best performance we can get from the meet. And then also recognizing those patterns throughout the year of, okay, now that I'm not having this very meat heavy season, now I want to make sure that I'm also preparing myself for the bodywork clients, right? I want X number of bodywork clients already set and scheduled. You can start selling packages for that if you haven't already. And even like in the beginning of summer, let's say summer is your heavy meat season, you're already filling in spots for your bodywork clients after that season is over, reaching out to the people that have already been in your network that you've already served, saying, hey, I do take a step back during the summer seasons, but my calendar is already open past summer. So I definitely suggest you getting on the schedule sooner than later. I offer these 3-month packages, whatever it is, so that they can also book in advance. But what you're ultimately doing is training the people in your world to book in advance. So that's creating more predictability for you. You're
Mm-hmm.
training them to not just commit to the 1, but to just go ahead and take the leap for the 3 or for the 6 because the data shows that they're doing that anyway. So how do you make it easier for both of you? It's making it easier for them because they're not constantly having to rebook the next session, pay for the next session. You guys are automating it. You're creating a system that you guys can rely on. And then from there, also intentionally creating capacity of body work, even though I'm in a body work season where I'm taking a little step back from the meat season, like that is still very physically demanding. So I only take X number of clients per week. And the rest of the time, I'm going to devote to launching this workshop because it allows me to rest my body. And it's also this gateway for people to come into my world. And maybe they're not physically, maybe they're not strength training right now. Maybe they're not comfortable doing the body work right now, but they still can get a sense of how I serve them. And I can plant the seed for if they want to do the body work, right? Or for how they can start doing the body work on their own at home. I know we didn't talk about that in this particular call, but I know that's something that you're wanting to launch as well, but you're doing everything with intention because you also recognize your capacity and what the data has shown.
Need to write this
Thoughts? How are you feeling?
down. um, it makes sense the way that you structured it out. I think the next part where I tend to get overwhelmed is pricing.
Mhm. Overwhelmed? Why?
I
And are you talking about for the workshop or for the offers that you currently have?
in general.
Okay.
Yeah, so all of it.
Mhm.
Something I've been struggling with since I started my business is charging people for my services.
When was the last time you raised your prices?
I did a small raise on my packages um in 2 months ago,
Okay.
but
Small as in, do you want to share your prices on this episode? You don't have to. Totally up to you.
yeah, so I have a couple of people who buy like the top package, which is 10 bodywork sessions for 1450, and that's
Okay.
60-minute sessions at their home. My average rate for one session is 175 an hour, and that one I haven't raised since 2021.
Okay. But you've been wanting to.
I've been thinking about it
And
for a
you're
long
already
time.
routinely getting clients in for body work, it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, so 140, if they were to come in, these are the moments where I wish I was still good at math. I had to pull up the calculator, you guys. So now that I'm looking at the equation, I feel like an idiot. 1450 divided by 10. I couldn't divide by 10, you guys. I couldn't divide by 10. 145 per session. And that is you going to their homes as well. That's not
Yeah,
even like
so
on site. What was it previously?
Oh, I raised it to 1,500.
Okay. That is a pretty small raise. I
I
would have
said it was
definitely
a small
increased it
raise.
quite a bit. I would give yourself a timeline that you're going to increase it even more, especially if it's like guaranteed, like in home. Like, are you accounting for your travel for all of the traveling? And like, is there
Yeah.
a a range or radius for that?
75 cents per mile round trip.
That's not included in the price point.
I include that.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. So it's
And the
different for everyone
175,
because Hmm?
it's different for everyone.
Yeah, because it depends on
You mean
where
your
they are.
margin is different for everyone, but the price
Um,
stays the same.
yes.
Got it. Okay. And 175 hasn't changed for the past several years, but you're not getting any friction for the pricing. No one's giving you a hard time about it.
Um, I don't think so. I hope not.
Okay. But you want to increase it?
I do.
Okay. And what are people currently charging? Is it around this range? Are people charging more than you, or what is it average?
Uh, there's another massage therapist who's been in the industry for 20 years, and her and I
Uh,
work on each other every once in a while. Also
okay.
Filipina,
Hmm.
and she's charging 200 per hour.
Okay.
Um, with my background of all the continued education I've done, everything, like I should be charging that same rate, at least,
Okay.
in
So
my
charge that rate.
experience.
Yeah. I feel like it should be 175 per session in the package, and then 200 for the one-offs. And I also want to challenge you to think, like, even if you already said it, even if she's been in business for 20 years and you've been in business for 6, you've been in the game for 10, but also you guys don't have the same expansion or expertise. You're in strength
Correct.
training, you do all these other things that needs to be
Correct.
incorporated into it. And again, looking at the evidence, people have consistently come to you at the current price point. People have said, yes, there is demand. So
Yes.
you got to think about it also from the perspective of, do I want to just like continue trying to push sales at this price point, or do I want to increase my rate? Maybe even have to serve less because I've increased my rates. And ultimately, that gives me more peace. That gives me more time to focus on the other things that I want to do. That
This
gets
all
me
makes
a little bit
sense.
closer and a little bit closer to my dream life, to my dream business.
This all makes sense. I think I'm also realizing I've been doing a lot of free work.
Okay.
That's another Ah.
You, for both you, Rochelle, and everyone that's listening, this was probably like the fourth episode that I dropped where I was talking about um how do you marriage passion and profit. And I'm not opposed to doing free work or doing barters or being of service to people. But I always say everything has to be done with intention. There has to be a reason for it. That is not a reason of like coming from scarcity, coming from obligation, feeling like, oh, I should do it. Like, oh, it would be a good experience, I think, for like, yes, I'm just trying to say yes to all the opportunities because I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do as a business owner. If there is a reason for you to do the free work that ultimately supports your goals and what you have for a business, I think that's justified. Or on the other hand, if you are allocating time for yourself to do the free work because ultimately you know that's why you wanted to get started, you wanted to be able to make these services more accessible to people that couldn't financially access it, then you need to do the work on the other hand of making sure that the offers you currently have give you enough revenue for you to make up for that time that you're offering for free, that you're doing pro bono, right? You need to layer
Mhm.
that in to your pricing.
the theme is capacity.
Mhm. And you get to design what that looks like, right? And it's not that like there's not enough time in the day, girls. I say that to myself all the time. There's not enough time in the day, but we also get to decide how much time we're allocating to all of the different parts of our life and decide where our time is not best spent, where we do want to be able to spend our time. How do we create structure so that it supports us and giving us more flexibility to spend time where we want to spend it? Like, that's why these systems are so important. That's why the intention behind it is so important. So we don't feel like we're running around with our like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to do all the things. I'm not saying you can't do all the things, but there's a time and a place for it. But we can build towards that so it all makes sense together and we're not feeling like we're spreading ourselves too thin. Okay. Rochelle, I feel like I could talk to you forever. I hope you loved this conversation. I know I did. Any last thoughts, takeaways before we close it out?
Uh, I feel seen.
I'm hugging you. I'm virtually hugging you. I hope that you do. And I hope that you recognize that being seen, it is a scary thing, but ultimately, it's like the most expansive thing. And to recognize that your transparency, your vulnerability is not a weakness. It really is a strength because the more you allow people to see of you, ultimately, the more people you're able to serve because then they get to feel seen because they've been waiting to have these conversations because they've been waiting for someone to stop and be like, hey, let's have the real conversations that actually matter. That's how lives get changed.
I do have one more question.
Okay.
Um, I know that we were doing a live strategy initially for this workshop I want to birth, right?
Mhm.
Did you expect to go into this whole web of, because I feel like my work has been like a whole intricate web of things that's been so hard for me to untangle. Did you already expect that coming in?
That we would be untangling it?
Yeah.
Yes and no. So yes, because I feel like this is just the work that I do. A lot of the people that come seek my support are in that position of like I want to do all the things, but I'm having trouble like making it all fit together or making it make sense. And I was in that same space, right? I'm also very like multi-passionate, multifaceted. I want to do all the things, but I've also done the work internally and structurally to support what I'm doing so that it makes sense together. So I wasn't expecting it quite to go the way that it did, but I am so glad that it did because I do feel like it revealed so much of what you actually want compared to where you're currently at. And now you're basically having the permission to say it out loud of like, I want to raise my prices. I don't want to have so much time spent doing the strength training. I want to be able to serve my clients in this capacity, even though there's been a lot of external noise telling me I shouldn't do it this way. Like being able to have that awareness of what it is that you ultimately want and how you want to serve your clients is so powerful. So I was definitely thinking that we would focus more on just like capacity and scheduling, but I love where it ended up.
Thanks for diving into all of that.
Thank you for being open to having this conversation. I'm excited to see where this takes you. And you know where to find me, of course, if you need continued support. Thank you again for being on the podcast, for allowing yourself to get more visible. And for everyone listening, thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe, like, do all the things in all the places. If you are also wanting to jump in on one of these live strategy sessions, the application is going to be below. Would love to have you on. But Rochelle, thank you again.
Thank you for having me. I'm gonna write for a couple pages now.
Oh my gosh, I update me. I would love to see what that reveals for you.
Thank you.